do your daily job. You want to take it a little bit more easy. You can certainly be active and take walks and be out in fresh air and do things like yoga and other things like that, but you want to be a little bit more careful than you normally are. So to avoid that tendency to become more yin during the fast, you want to minimize the amount of sugars that you're consuming. And that's why when I recommend fasts for people, I recommend that they use more vegetable juices and less fruit juices. Yes, we can use some fruit juices, and they certainly have certain benefits associated with them, but especially depending on the constitution of the person, if they tend to be an individual that tends to get more spaced out or who's more yin in their makeup, more maybe vata in the Ayurvedic system, then those individuals will need to be a little bit more careful with, and we'll give them more grounding types of juices, things like ginger and garlic and horseradish, which have a more of a yang energy and are more contracting and more grounding. And we'll keep them away from more fruit types of juices, especially things like grape juice and things like that, which are very, very yin, which will tend to cause them to space out. And that's, I guess, what I have as the primary criticism of the Master Cleanse, is that it has so much sugar in it, and especially the effect that sugar can have on your blood sugar, on your adrenal function, on your liver function. In my experience, although it may be useful for some individuals, I really prefer the juice fasting in general. So yes, juices. As I said, it's just a wonderful way to fast. I've done this with literally thousands of people over many decades. There's a wide variety of juices. As we go through tonight's presentation, I'll talk about different combinations of juices, individual juices, the various health benefits that they offer for you, how to juice, what type of juices are available, what else you should do in addition to juicing to make sure that your body is eliminating the toxins that have been accumulated over a period of time. We'll discuss all of these various factors so that you have a clear understanding of how to implement a fast in your own life. Now, this is what I think is the primary purpose of the fast, is to cleanse the tissues, to rebalance the organs, to get the endocrine system functioning properly so all the hormones are working correctly. This is what we primarily want to use a fast for. Now, when you're fasting, all the organs of elimination are going to start to work very hard, and you'll see in a second. I'm a very strong advocate of doing things like enemas or colonic irrigations or using a Colima board, because after the third day of a fast, once that autolysis begins, the body for most people, no longer has any type of peristalsis. Peristalsis is that natural movement of the intestinal tract that moves food through, starting with the mouth and down the esophagus into the stomach, through the small intestine into the large intestine, and then out through the rectum. That peristaltic movement is what allows these things to be pushed through. Well, after the third day of a fast, because you're not consuming any fiber, especially if you're really filtering the juice carefully and allowing that process of autolysis to occur, what will happen is that you'll stop having bowel movements. And that'll mean that all of your other organs of elimination will have to work much, much more hard. They'll have to do overtime in work. And one of those, of course, will be your lungs. So you'll notice that when people fast, that they will develop a halitosis. Their breath will become very strong. And if they have a predisposition towards respiratory types of issues like asthmas or other types of bronchial types of conditions, this can be very problematic. The skin is another organ of elimination. And again, if you don't cleanse out through various types of good juices and herbs and enemas or colonic irrigations, all of these various types of things, then the skin is going to have to work much harder. Your perspiration will be of a much stronger odor. You'll begin to see pimples coming out, or various types of rashes or boils, or any of a number of types of skin disturbances, which you probably don't want to have. So again, you can minimize that by following good fasting techniques, colonics, enemas, and using Colima boards. Another organ that can be affected when you don't do these types of cleansings, like dry brush massages or colonics or enemas or Colima boards, is the kidneys. And the kidneys actually probably is at the highest risk because the kidneys are very much responsible for eliminating toxins that don't get out through the large intestine. And so you'll notice that during a fast, your urine will become much darker in color. It'll have more of a strong odor. So it's very important, again, to make sure that you're doing all these cleansing processes to minimize the stress on the kidneys. I actually, because I've fasted so many people over such a long period of time, I've actually had people that I've worked with who were basically unwilling to do enemas, and I can understand that. I mean, they said, well, I'm not willing to do that. It's too weird for me, and they weren't willing to do it. And I've had actually people who have experienced tremendous kidney pain and other types of kidney issues. Fortunately, they were all reversible, but you don't want to put yourself in that type of situation. You want to make sure that you do fasting in an intelligent way and that you minimize the risk to all of the other organs of elimination. One of the ways that you can minimize the stress to the kidneys is by drinking a lot of water. Water will help to flush out the system. It's going to help to make sure that all those toxins that are breaking down from the fatty tissue, moving through the lymphatic and into the urinary system, are really moving through easily.